The Midwest, home sweet home in good old Indiana. Place of small towns, cozy families gathered together, and fields of corn and rustic woods. But, like any town, there is a dark underbelly that often goes unnoted. We are part of that darkness. We lurk in the shadows to bring you the best in horror, metal, and stories of the grotesque. This is Blood in the Cornfields.
All right, welcome in, cellar dwellers. I am Mark.
I'm Ivy.
And we are Blood in the Cornfields.
Did it twice.
That's twice. Yes, we did.
So proud of us.
I know. Eventually, we're going to have to stop pointing that out.
I know.
But,
it's so new. It's so different. It's cool.
Definitely. So
we even did it on stage.
I know. I totally, as the night went on, I got way better, more comfortable. And that first one, I thank you for taking the lead because I just was not feeling it at first.
That's okay. It was a lot. So for those who don't know what we're talking about, shame on you.
Yes, exactly.
We had our very first event ever.
Yes.
With Cult of Blood.
Yes. Crude Cinema, Robbie Lopez. Yes. We also had some other guests. We had Leatherface. Mm-hmm. We had David Boyer, and we had Tim Wolak. Great night.
It really was. It was a fun night.
A lot of fun. And I've talked to 5 or 6 other people, and they all genuinely were like, dude, we had a lot of fun. And
that's awesome.
That's what it felt like. The night just felt really good. I know in the beginning when Robbie was up on stage, I kind of had to ask him some questions because the audience is a little gun shy. I understand they didn't want to kind of open up at first.
It's like the breaking the ice sort of thing. You got to break the ice first with a couple questions before everybody else,
Yep. So I ripped that Band-Aid off and y'all did good. You had some questions. I was proud of the night. Mm-hmm. I really was. It was fun. It was great. It really motivated me to kind of
more events.
Yes, to up my game. So behind the scenes guys, I've been contacting, some good guests, trying to get some people involved where we can line events up. Mm-hmm. It really motivated me to keep this ball going and make it bigger and better and badder. So I'm still motivated. I'm still feeling it.
Yeah, and we gave out some really fucking great prizes.
Yes, I think the people had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
I think they did.
That was a lot of fun, putting the numbers in the hat and just bloop.
So it was good. Yeah, someone got, hoodie, T-shirts, some of the guests' movies that they had.
Yep. And then also someone got a Belial.
That's true, yes, the Belial.
That was pretty damn cool. David Boyer got that. He's just I need that.
That's awesome. I'm glad it went to someone who actually appreciates it or would like it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was awesome. But yes, more events going to be coming down the pipe. Definitely this next year, because we're closing up in on our anniversary.
Yes, actually, this Friday is our anniversary, October 5th.
Yes, awesome.
Crazy.
So close to my birthday. Year. That's crazy. Yeah, so we're kind of getting ready to wrap year 1, closing in on that 100 subscribers for YouTube. I just use that as just a basic measuring tool.
We still got some damn good prizes.
Yes, and we still are doing the 100 subs giveaway. So, kind of cool thinking about having 100 subscribers basically this first year and putting on our first event and really getting the ball going. So it makes me excited to see what's coming.
But we can't thank enough everybody that participated in that event to make it even happen. We had about 20, 25 people. Mm-hmm. So for our first event, that's pretty damn good.
I was shooting my honest, look myself in the mirror number that I would be absolutely that I was shooting for, that I'm what's realistic? 30 was the number I came up with. So I'm not sad at all. We fell short. It just means I was right around in the ballpark.
Yep, exactly. And it was a lot. It's nice to see some new faces.
Yes, absolutely. Meeting new people.
Mm-hmm. And we also like to thank Robbie Lopez for, driving all that fucking way.
So, yeah, and I've been talking to Robbie
That was crazy. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, and so then he had to drive the next day to... I think he was a guest at some sort of Tough Man competition or something.
Really?
Because Robbie, I believe, did boxing or MMA, one of the two, and so I think he was announcing, like a guest announcer at the fights and stuff. So yeah, he was doing that right after the next day. So
that man, I don't know how he has energy. Thank you so much, Robbie.
Very busy day. So yes, we do appreciate it.
Thank you to Tim and David as well.
Yep, and then Brian also too. Brian was in the movie Cult of Blood. Who I
Roach.
Spoke to. Yes, Roach. Yes,
Roach. I love Roach.
Yes, I spoke to Roach after the show. He came up to me and was like, "Dude, I want a hoodie," and I was like, "Shit, I don't have any."
Yeah.
And so I got his information. I'm sending Robbie a shirt. You already know it if you listen, Robbie, because we talked today. But yeah, it was cool. Like he like came up to me and like seeked me out. It was like, "Dude, I want one of those," and I was like, "Hell yeah, okay." So. Yeah, I was excited. It's great meeting people and like networking, and just kind of building this web out further. It's totally badass. And then I pinned myself out to Robbie and was like, "Hey, you ever need somebody, if you're ever over budget and need somebody to do something that you don't have to pay, fuck, dude, call me up." Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, let's get into some announcements as far as where you can see us next and what we might be involved in.
Yes, go ahead. You take that away. The scheduling is definitely your MO over mine.
Well, you help me out with it. You're the one that like reaches out to the people, and I'm just like, oh, okay, sure, let's do this. So Fright Night, October 12th.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to this.
In Kendallville.
Yes, because it's the first time that they're doing it. So I hope
this is also their first event.
Yes, any of you show up. There's going to be vendors. There's going to be food trucks. There's going to be fire performers. Like, it's supposed to be a whole thing. Arkham City Oddities putting it on. Great people. I've met them at least once or twice. I can't remember if it's been twice. I think it's been twice now. I'm going to be there vending. Yeah, it's just going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then coming up on our anniversary is Distress Dolls doing night at the museum, at the art museum.
At the art museum.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it always made me think of that movie with like Owen Wilson or whatever.
That's what yep. Owen Wilson, Ben Stiller, both in it. Yeah, so it looks like it'll be a lot of fun. Distress Dolls always put on a damn good show. It's at Lang Lab. And then you may be able to see us at a couple of metal shows in Ignition.
Yes. I know the 18th is one.
The 18th. And then we also have another one on October 26th, which is their Halloween show.
October 26th. Awesome. So yeah, I'm in communication with Ignition, waiting back on a response. I've talked to them before. I mean, gotten the okay before. So I'm hoping that they'll be okay with just us either like doing a pre-recorded broadcast there, live broadcast there, or maybe interviewing, some of the bands, just kind of grabbing them. So
that'd be
that would be cool. Yeah, definitely. So we'll see if that pans out.
And then we also have just promoting Kevin Titzer. His film, A Sack Race with Knives, will be playing in Fort Wayne on Friday, October 4th. So if you're in the Fort Wayne area or if you want to see the movie, I suggest go getting your tickets now because it's at that Hobnobbin Film Festival.
Hobnobbin, yes. That's a pretty, that's a fucking sweet name. Like,
right?
Come on. Who's not going to go for the name? But I know, you guys have heard me speak very highly of it. Great film. Really, really cool. Different from what we normally do. But, Kevin's so talented. The filmmakers are so talented. It's just such a really, really like high level. I mean, in my opinion, a lot of the stuff that we talk about is on the indie level, is on the B movie level.
Absolutely.
People starting out, people, honing their craft and stuff. This is professional, in my opinion, quality, content. It's professional all the way around.
Absolutely.
And I guess to me, because I've been thinking about that, because I'm like, how do I describe how I feel about this film without trying to be like a dickhead and slight anyone else? Because it's not a slight at anyone else. No. It's comparing apples to oranges.
Exactly.
But that's kind of how I could describe it, is this is our first, in my opinion, taste of like real like pro stuff. Robbie's there too. So not to slight Robbie or anyone else, but like, Robbie just had Felissa Rose in his movie. That's pretty damn professional if you ask me. So, but yeah, y'all go out. Like, I can't speak enough of how much I was just blown away when I saw this flick.
Absolutely. So let's get into news and horror.
Okay, let's get into news and horror.
I'll let you go first.
Sure. So there's an interesting show, and it gave me like Seven vibes. There's a plethora of other movies that basically take the premise of like detective trying to track down a morbid killer or a very intellectual, smart killer. And this very much is a show that takes that on.
Yeah.
Now, I do have worries because I did see that it's on USA Network.
Yeah.
And I don't like the primetime watered down network shit.
Right.
It's usually too PC, not edgy enough for me, not original. But this looks cool.
Yeah.
And I didn't know so I just saw it once. I didn't know the angle that you know it from,
so
which is kind of cool.
The TV show is called Cross. And the first thing that I saw was like when he sent the trailer to me, I'm like, oh, is this like an Alex Cross thing? So Alex Cross, for those of you that don't know, is a character in a series of James Patterson novels.
And I did not know that.
And he most notably, the one that everybody kind of knows because there's a couple infamous sex scenes in it.
Oh, really?
It's called Along Came a Spider. I think it's one of the first books in the Alex Cross series.
Oh.
And it was also turned into a movie with Morgan Freeman playing Alex Cross.
Then if Morgan Freeman was in it, I've definitely seen it.
Yeah. So, and then it had a couple other movies, and now it has this TV show. So this is just another spin-off of it. But it has like this weird psychopath with a mask. It's like a ultra realistic looking mask.
It's one of those realistic masks that creeps me out because it's like, dude, if someone's wearing one of those, they could walk right by you on the streets and you have no fucking
It's like
clue.
uncanny valley, icky looking skin mask.
Yeah,
thing.
it makes you wonder, like, get a little crazy and be like, did a celebrity die and someone's just wearing their mask? And we don't
Just
know
wearing
that
their
the celebrity's
skin.
dead now. Yeah, it's one of those masks, those like realistic masks.
Yeah.
But, and it totally like, because it's not the same skin complexion at all. So, for example, like a tan man with like kind of a palish mask on.
Yeah.
So it's like the mask is the one skin tone and then his body is another one. And it's just like, it's creepy.
What
looking.
the fuck am I looking at?
Yeah, it's creepy looking. So I think that's cool. I have massive reservations now that I saw it's on USA Network.
Yeah. Comes out November 14th.
November 14th, so we will see how that goes. On to my next one. So I am really excited about this. Silent Hill 2, the remake, is out October 8th on consoles.
Yay!
One of my all-time favorite games ever. I'm going to nerd out. This is my birthday present to myself. I'm excited for this one. They're kind of capitalizing on this newfound popularity of good remakes of movies. Resident Evil was really one of the franchises that kind of capped it off and that really gained a lot of notoriety for the remakes. This game was ahead of its time, so I'm glad they're getting a remake in. Excited about that. That comes out October 8th. Totally excited for that.
Yeah, but I do remember watching Silent Hill like playthroughs with like PewDiePie and Markiplier, so I was kind of there. Shows you how much I don't know about video games.
They're enough, though. I mean, that you can, that you at least did see it, so.
Yeah. But kind of for my news and horror is Chucky season 3 has been canceled. Fuck.
Yeah, it was.
Fuck the executives. What the fuck? Why would you do that? It was going somewhere interesting.
So I own all 3 on disc, of course, media. I watched the first season, I thought. Come to find out, gonna start season 2. I missed like the last 3 episodes for some reason in season 1. So I was like, hold up. I gotta go back and watch season 1 again. I may or may not have been on an edible, don't know, for this, but I laughed so hard for one of the scenes. All I remember was it's Chucky in bed with this, I think it was a little girl.
Oh
and
my
he
God.
leans over to her and goes, "Hey, you want to go kill your sister?"
Yes,
and
that was good.
I laughed so hard. I don't know why, but that just struck me as so fucking funny. May have been on an edible, so that may have assisted, but it was, that was insane.
It was, that's a good scene. I remember like I was First season, it's got a weird thing going on where it was available on Peacock.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Like the first
Jumps
season,
around, yeah.
that's it. And then when we finally got Shudder, I could watch the whole series there. But it was like exclusively on Shudder.
So what we're really saying, kids, is buy the damn physical media.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about that shit.
Exactly.
And guess what? Internet goes out. You want to watch Chucky? Go for it.
Exactly. And then also Robert Eggers' Nosferatu comes out on Christmas of this year. Exactly on Christmas, the 25th. Yeah.
I like that.
I do too. I think that's fucking cool. That's badass.
Because I don't know about some of you listeners out there. I know some families have traditions of going to the movies on Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. I've done that maybe once or twice, but I never remember any cool horror-ish type movie that's been out around that time.
The only time I've ever had anything that was cool was when the Krampus came out around that time. I watched that movie 3 times in theaters.
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, I loved it so much.
Yeah, I had that one on media and watched it then, but yeah, I'm all for it. I think that's that might be a pretty cool movie to watch on Christmas.
That would be badass. I could see that, even just the atmosphere, the gothic atmosphere of it.
That's what I'm thinking.
You know, on Christmas, you typically watch, or at least I typically watch kind of more freakier movies. You got Black Christmas, you got Silent Night, Deadly Night. You have all these other they get you in the Christmas spirit, But there's some where you need to pull back a little bit. And for me, that is Charles Dickens' Christmas Story.
Yeah.
No, not Christmas Story. Fuck.
No, is that the one
Christmas Carol.
Is that the one where every time the bell rings, an angel gets its wings?
No.
What is that?
That's It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, fuck! I hate that movie. That's
you don't like that one?
No. God.
Okay.
No.
So.
Oh yeah, I'll stop.
That's okay. I want to hear this rant in just a little bit because I think it's awesome.
I just wish the little boy died.
Damn.
When I don't know.
When he tried to save him from the river? Jesus.
And then I wish that was the plot twist, and then the movie takes a hard right.
Oh man,
and it doesn't end how you think it would.
That would be interesting.
I'm sorry.
No, I like that idea. Make the remake.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna kill the little boy, and then we're gonna turn right and never look back.
Exactly. He had a shitty life the whole time. He's just living in some fucked up fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. And then he wronged Betty years ago, so now he's stuck in this repeat purgatory or something.
That'd be fucking cool. You write the better script.
I try.
But yeah, so A Christmas Carol is the movie I was thinking of, where it's kind of got gothic, dark, kind of scary vibes to it with the 3 ghosts visiting Scrooge, Okay. Hear me out. Charles Dickens' A Christmas Story is horror. It is gothic horror, but it's not in the traditional sense of horror. There's scary elements to it. There's horror themes. It's literally about fucking ghosts.
Yeah.
So to me, Christmas should be that. If I need to step back from the holly jolliness, I need that. That is my grounding spot as A Christmas Carol. Nosferatu could easily be that for me, for this Christmas.
Yeah.
That grounding horror that I need to also feel warm and fuzzy and get into the Christmas spirit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
To me, I'm probably breaking out It's a Wonderful Knife again. I'm probably breaking that one out again.
And last for news and horror is The Substance is fucking blowing up the internet right now.
Yeah, it is just destroying.
I want to watch reviews. It so bad. It's either people really like it or they're really disgusted by it.
Oh, well, then those people need to go watch Care Bears or some shit.
I literally had, and I love this friend, so thank you so much. Anytime anybody has any horror questions or anything like that, contact us. No problem. I love that. I love answering or giving movie recommendations, especially around this time of year.
Yes, absolutely.
So one of my friends said, what's a good litmus test for The Substance? I really want to see it, but I'm afraid I'm going to be scared by the gore and the body horror. So I'm literally throwing out The Fly, Street Trash. I'm throwing out Society.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I like how much attention the substance is getting. I really need to fucking see it. It's driving me nuts. So hopefully Beetlejuice didn't work out, or we didn't get a chance to, do a review like we wanted to. There's too many things going on. But if we can do one on the substance, I think that'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah, I think it'd be great.
But this episode is going to be a real treat.
I'm excited. Absolutely excited about this one because I'm so curious to find out about our guest. Yeah. Like really find out about background, what drives him, how did he get started, all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Ron Fitzgerald, he is just an incredible talent. You'll hear me say this later because like the videos for context, our videos are usually recorded in advance and then we kind of do the news and horror as we get to it. I've only known Ron Fitzgerald or of him through my husband. Yeah. Because he was in a couple of his movies and that sort of thing. Cool. Yeah. He was just a background character, but that's still pretty cool that he got to meet him in person and watch like one of his live shows. Yeah. Which he is having a live show.
I really want to try and go to that.
Yeah. And so you'll definitely want to stick around so we get more information and details on that.
Absolutely. Well, without further ado, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. Let's meet
Ron Fitzgerald.
Creatures of the night, join me October 30th, Devil's Night, at the Hobart Art Theater for Extreme Halloween Magic. Shocking gothic illusion and dark sticky fun. Grab your tickets now.
All right, welcome in, cellar dwellers.
Hello, everybody.
Howdy. How's everybody doing?
As you can tell, we do have a special guest with us today.
We do. Yes, absolutely. Well, if you'd like to introduce yourself, sir, you can go right ahead.
Oh, Ron Fitzgerald, master of the dark realm, gothic illusionist, horror actor, author, professional bohemian weirdo. How's that? Creative,
very much our crowd. So.
Yep,
it is. We were just talking about that pre-show. Yes.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's what we try to do on here. If anybody isn't aware, maybe this is the first episode you guys are watching, but we try to have local people on, especially people from the Midwest, to share their craft with everybody, and so that way you get to know them, and hopefully you can go see their shows.
Yes. Absolutely. We try to get people involved, and then you'll notice that a lot of times they'll be at the shows. We'll be interviewing bands, and then we'll be at their show, or we'll be, interviewing like Robbie, the director friend, and then we're screening his movie on the 27th. The 27th at Lang Lab. We are doing the screening of Cult of Blood.
Well, at this point, it would be past, but that's okay. It doesn't matter.
That's true. Yeah.
You should have been there.
Yeah. What are you? These losers, man. All losers. Well, so you're based out of Chicago, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. I'm on a Chicago market, but I travel all over. I mean, I've performed from everywhere from the Magic Castle in Hollywood to the Hong Kong Halloween Festival. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How long have you been based out of Chicago?
Pretty much my whole life. I mean, I have traveled around and I have lived for periods of time in other places, but always come back here, to Chicago, to the Midwest. It's kind of easy to get everywhere. And it's just where a lot of my family, friends, co-conspirators live, out here. So even though I've made movies here and also in LA and Hollywood and everything, I always seem to return. It always draws me back here. So we wanted to ask you this. What do you prefer to be called, a magician or illusionist? And is there a difference between the two? Well, the M word, the magic word, a magician, that almost became like passe. I mean, I like it for other reasons, but to the audience, I think it just sounds like the guy that's coming over to do your kid's birthday, Yeah, it does. I actually call myself a gothic illusionist because it says it's a bigger show. It's a stand-up, magic and stage show illusion, and the Gothic then tips them off that it's a a dark ride. It's dark. I mean, it's got dark humor and it's got a stylish Gothic illusion in it, and I call it dark sticky fun. It's kind of the brand.
I love that.
Thanks. It sounds provocative, and everybody seems to really like that. So it caught on. It was something, a long time ago. It was at the bottom of a flyer. It was dark, sticky summer fun. And everybody, when they got to the bottom of the flyer, always laughed at that. So I'm like, we've got to use it. And then it was dark, sticky vampire fun on the shirts for a while. And now it's just, the audience just shortened it. And now it's just dark, sticky fun. So my mission is to make dark, sticky fun for the world. And that's what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's so fun. I love that.
That is.
And the reason why we also asked you that question is because, okay, so I'm a mortician. I actually work as a mortician full time. And one of the things that like people, will either say, well, are you a funeral director or or a mortician? And it's like, it's more up to personal preference, but you could use either one. But right. I think mortician sounds really cool, honestly. So
it does. It sounds more old timey.
Yeah. Mysterious.
A little more sophisticated.
It makes it, yes. And it makes it just a little bit closer to Morticia. So yeah, run with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So how did you get into the world of Gothic illusion?
Well, there was a radioactive bat and it bit me, and no, that's just talk about origin stories, and that makes me think of Batman, Spider-Man. Actually, you would not know it by looking at me now, and for the longest time, this is what I've done. But when I started, I was a kid. I got a box of magic when I was 8 years old, and that started me. And by the time I was 12, I was performing professionally at, yes, you guessed it, birthday parties. So I got like $50 for my first show. It was a birthday party, but I was only 12 myself. So that's where I started. But when I started, the mentor that I had, the teacher that I had at the time, his name was Robert Anderson. He was a local teacher that also did magic, and he's the one that got me my first paying gig and got me, trained. He was kind of my mentor, and he worked under the name of the great Andersini. So that tells you everything you need to know. It was very old school. It was birds, bunnies, and bag tuxedos. It was very, very traditional classic magic. And I did that for about the first, 10, 12 years of my career. And then my friend Darlene said to me, "You are way more interesting off stage than on." And at that point, the light went off, and I'm like, well, then I heard the voice in my head go, "Fulfill your destiny and complete your journey to the dark side." and I said that sounded like fun. So, so I did that. And then I transitioned into doing the show I wanted to do that I never saw, that was inspired by horror movies and dark sci-fi, comic books, and the paranormal, the supernatural, haunted houses, Halloween horror, all of the good stuff that we all love now, in our dark culture community. And that's where I went. And it was kind of it took me several years to kind of fully transition into that. But then I came out on the other end, and I was, fully entrenched in being a Gothic illusionist. So that's how it happened. It was kind of a process that I, kind of started with, in one place and went somewhere very different.
It seems like every magician or illusionist that I've ever run across or ever watched on TV started out young. Like started out with, just like you were saying, a box of magic, performing in their living room in front of their parents, and then they just kind of stuck with it and never did anything else. It's very much an industry to where I think that scenario just repeats itself over and over and over. It's kind of fascinating.
It is, and I have had many people come up to me and going, "Oh yeah, I had a magic kit when I was a kid," and stuff like that. So not everybody sticks with it, but everybody had one of those, and it seems to be predominantly like the starting place for a lot of the magi, as I like to call them.
Oh, I like that. It sounds like you had, just you talking about like how you grew up and that sort of thing. It sounds like you had a lot of people that encouraged you to keep going and pursuing this. Would you say?
Yes and no. I did. My friends all liked it and were very encouraging. And I had a couple of good mentors. My first one, Robert Anderson, and then later Paul Osborne that I worked for. I had a career. He is an illusion designer, has worked with everybody in the industry, including David Copperfield, and he also published Illusion Systems, his books. But he also had a whole arm of his business where he produced shows for theme parks, and I worked for him for like 5 or 6 years doing theme park shows. So that was kind of the next phase as I was transitioning into the dark side. I worked with him because it was kind of mainstream in the parks themselves, but then I got to do Halloween, a couple of Halloween seasons in the parks with him, and that, by that point I was solidly. He knew I was his go-to guy for something spooky, a performer that could get them, packed into the streets for a big show. And I was using a guillotine like Alice Cooper and chopping off heads. And I was burning witches, and I mean, it was down in Six Flags over Texas, in
San Antonio.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was great because, I mean, the first year we did it, tell you how long ago this was. This was back in 1988, so it came from the 80s.
Hey, I'm an 80s baby. I'm totally an 80s baby.
Freddy Krueger was hot and all that stuff then. That's when all the franchises were kind of formed and came out of the 80s. Nightmare on Elm Street and Hellraiser, Friday the 13th, and all of that kind of came out of that era. And it was huge because we got to play with a lot of those horror ideas in the parks, and it was the promotion was so successful they had to shut down the park. The fire inspector said you are at capacity, and they couldn't let anyone else into the park. And when I was doing the shows, cutting off heads and stuff like that, they had me outside, and the streets were filled with people. There were just thousands and thousands of people watching those shows, and there were people as far as I could see. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you had a lot of people along the way that kind of either encouraged you or pointed you in the right direction. But who would you say overall is your biggest inspiration or your biggest, cheerleader?
Well, there are a few of them. Honestly, probably my mom. I would not be sitting here talking to you about this if it weren't for my very awesome mom. She gave me that box of magic,
Awesome.
And she always very directly and quietly encouraged me. She made my first costumes, capes, all that stuff, matching vests and everything.
That's so awesome. That is so awesome.
Yeah, she did all that for me. My father, on the other hand, worked on the railroad. He did not understand doing your own thing and being entrepreneurial, and discouraged me highly from going off and doing my own thing like this. So he in the beginning was not about it at all, but thankfully my mom was, and I was a creative nonconformist, and somehow I knew that about myself, and I'm like, this is what I'm going to do, and I had to fight with him about it, but I did it, and I'm still here, so I won. So.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's great though to hear that your mom was so supportive and all that. I think that's so important to have that, that anchor, keep you stable.
It's essential that you have at least one of your folks on your side, preferably both of them. My dad came along later when he saw that, I was going to go out and learn how to do this. All he knew is that show business was risky. Fine. We all know that. Mm-hmm. But it was up to me to go out and figure that shit out for myself. And I did, But yeah, without my mom's direct support, it would have been a much harder way to go. And she's always very supportive. Every time I was packing up and headed out the door, even later in my adult life, when I would go see her, because some of the things I stored at her house and in her garage and everything. So I would go over and pick up some of the equipment and go. And every time I was going out the door, every single freaking time, she would say, "Have a great show."
Oh.
Yeah, how awesome is that?
Great lady. Oh, I'm so happy for you.
It'll stick with me forever and ever and ever. I'm eternally grateful for her and everything she did for me. And, Yeah, appreciate your moms, people. Appreciate
Absolutely. I just spoke to my mom before we started this recording.
Yes, he did.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yep.
So, this is kind of an offbeat question because it came from one of our viewers, and I figured I would ask it here because this just seems like a natural place to put it. What is, or rather, where is the most interesting place that you have ever performed?
Wow, that's a whole category of stuff. I've done weird gigs. I mean, a storefront window on Halloween in Chicago, right on Futon store, big, window display. They took it out. I did my show in a window display in Chicago, and it was a beautiful Halloween. It was warm. It was like 70 and gorgeous out. And we had people on the sidewalk spilling out into the street. We had loudspeakers to take the music and the mic out into the streets. And one of the neighbors happened to complain about it, and she was not happy, kept calling the store on repeat, trying to get us to turn off the music, and then the crowd. She called the cops. So I think I'm the only illusion show ever in Chicago to be shut down by the Chicago PD. And they had the lights on, they're rolling up, they're squeaking on their horns, the sirens, and they're trying to disperse the crowd because they were kind of blocking the sidewalk and everything too. And they show up right as I am doing my cremation illusion and setting a coffin on fire with somebody in it in the window while the cops are rolling up. So that's awesome. It was great. Luckily, Mark, the guy who hired me, the store owner, he ran out to slow down the cops long enough for me to finish the show. So it was a perfect ending to that night, really. But that's one of the weirdest ones. I'm also the only illusionist to play the second stage at Lollapalooza. So that's another credit. And it was awesome. You could hear, it was the year Soundgarden was headlining. You could hear them in the background on the main stage as I was closing the second stage.
Wow, that's crazy. Cool.
Hold a good crowd. They really enjoyed it. But I got to tell you, I mean, it was a hard-earned credit because I had heard the call, MTV was looking for acts, and I applied, and they said yes. And at first they wanted to take me on the whole tour, and that became half the tour, and then it became some Midwest states. So they just kept whittling it down because they were incredibly disorganized. It was a woman that ran clubs in LA was doing that part of the entertainment for Lollapalooza. And she did, club people can be a little flaky. So she didn't have everything nailed down. And then they wanted to perform here, and they wanted to perform here. And then finally, at the end of the day, they brought me around, and I got to do what I went to do was close out the second stage, because that was a credit that no other illusionist had ever done that at a music festival that big. And I got to tell you, though, it was the very worst of a theme park show and the worst of a nightclub show jammed together and put on stage. Yeah. They made it hard to do, but we did it, and the audience loved it. So that's another one that's probably really weird for an illusionist, anyway. Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned I think it was it's the famous magic place in LA. I believe it is
the Magic Cafe.
Yeah. You've played there, because every magician or illusionist I've ever heard has also said that, like, that's what they've played there, and that's where they started up, and pretty much. Am I mistaken, or am I correct in thinking that the who's who of magicians or illusionists have been there?
100% right on. It really is kind of the Carnegie Hall for magicians. Yeah, I mean, anybody worth their salt has been out there, trucked out to the castle, and done it one or multiple times. And I got a lot of attention when I did it. And it was a long time ago. It was back in the 90s when I did that, during the time I was doing my cable TV show here in the Chicago area. But yeah, it was great. I loved doing the Magic Castle. It was really, really fun. And I was doing, stuff that other magicians, the other magi Loved it that somebody was doing something different, because they still do a lot of kind of straightforward kind of magic there. But I was up there doing something for my show called The Vampire's Kiss, where you're taking a 12-inch long stainless steel, surgical grade needle and sticking it through the neck of my assistant. And when you pull it out, it leaves what looks like the bite marks and the blood running down. And they were all like, "You got to go upstairs and see the weird guy sticking needles in people." So
That's so cool.
I got their attention when I did the Magic Castle. Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah, because I almost liken it to like CBGB in LA for like punk and metal bands. That's like the same kind of equivalent, right?
It really is. It is, because if you were one of those bands and you wanted to make a name for yourself, that was one of those venues you just had to play.
Yeah.
And I did. And booking it from the Midwest, without a lot of LA connections at the time. I mean, again, Paul Osborne kind of helped me do that. He paved the road and he put in a good word for me and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it took me like over 3 years to book the Magic Castle. I'd been trying to book that since the late 80s, and it was a mofo to get in the damn thing. But once I did, they loved it. The older guys, in fact, the guy that booked me, he sat in the audience, a guy by the name of Milt Larson. Only the other Magi will recognize that name. Or Bill Larson, Bill and Milt's his brother, but Bill Larson, he didn't get what I was doing, and he didn't particularly like it. And in fact, on the phone, when he booked me, he insulted me, and then he turned right around and booked me. So I'm like, okay, whatever, dude, I'm coming out, and I'm going to show you what I do. And you're going to pay me for it. And he did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You had the last laugh there.
Definitely.
I got to do my evil thing at the castle, and that was my point, And that's long before, David Blaine or Chris Angel or anybody else that came along that kind of taps into a little bit into the ooky spooky, but not nearly as much as I do.
Yeah, I was going to say, because Luke, my husband, who also helps us with the show, he's our backbone to the show.
He is awesome. Yes, he is. Yep.
Yes, he actually was in your Dark Realm film, where that was the first time I was ever exposed to your act. And I thought this was like when we were first started dating. And I just remember, oh, this is amazing. And I just remember when he put it on, he's like, this is for you, because you're, the goth chick that I'm dating. I need to show her. Mm-hmm. And look, I'm right there.
Yep. He is. He is right in there. He did a nice review of the movie as well.
Yes, he did on his channel, and that was really fun. I remember dressing him up for that.
All right, very well. Nice wardrobe on him for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Did he credit you in that? I don't know if I remember seeing your name in the credits, but he should credit you on that.
That's all right. I kind of did like a Rillo Voltaire kind of style to him, because
yeah.
I have no idea what the hell that means.
He's an awesome artist. You even used his song in like one of your acts, and I was like, that was perfect. That was everything.
Yeah, I have eternal gratitude to Voltaire for he let me use a couple. And one of them, his signature tune, "When You're Evil," which I love. Everybody loves that tune. He usually closes the show with that tune, and that's in Dark Realm, and Raven's Land is another one we use in it.
Okay.
Both off his first album, The Devil's Bris. So, But anyway, if you're not familiar with Aurelio Voltaire, go look him up. You will be happy you did.
He is an awesome goth artist.
Okay.
He's just really good.
Understandable.
But I'm glad you like Dark Realm that much, because you are my target audience, my dear. So thank you.
Yeah.
So what would be a main thing that you would say sets you apart from other illusionists?
Besides the gothic act.
Yeah.
What else would make you different?
I just like to approach it like performance art, Yeah. Magic, kind of David Blaine, it started with him, and then a lot of them, Chris Angel, and even David Copperfield did stuff like out some things out in the street after that. They chased magic out in the street. I think it was to get it, in people's faces, because close up and things like that. It's got a very, in your face, genuine, authentic, because, that's like a buzzword now, authentic. To it, and I get it. I get the value of that. Sometimes I don't think it's authentic as people think it is, but I appreciate it when it is, and we all know when it is and when it's not. But anyway, magic got chased back out in the streets, but I've always been a theater guy. I mean, I went to college, and I've got, it's not a fancy degree. I've got an associate in theater and communications, and I studied television. I studied theater. Yes, to the theater kids, and I was one of those weird theater kids, and I studied acting and I studied theater. So I always wanted to do that. The only reason I studied it was because I wanted to apply all that to my stage show, because I wanted to do, big illusions and make it big. And that was about the time I was starting to pivot and make it, take it to the dark side and do Gothic illusion. And I just, so the idea of making it performance art, and I'm very inspired by more inspired by people outside of the magic world than in. The one guy inside the magic world where I first got a look as a kid and saw, oh, you can do something else, something different with this rather than the traditional shit, was Doug Henning, the hippie magician. Do you guys remember him at all?
I kind of do. My husband's more familiar with the illusion as a magician.
Yeah, he was a skinny little dude, and he did a very kind of 60s, 70s hippie style, and he had a hard time transitioning into a more current style in the 80s, and then he kind of retired for a while and did other things. But Doug Henning, he had long hair and, the traditional kind of mustache, but, did not wear the tux or anything like that. And had a very different fantasy take on magic. It was all puppies and rainbows and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to take that and go gargoyles and vampires then. And that was part of my inspiration. But then other people, just cool creatives like David Bowie, I'm a huge Bowie fan, and I'm in that small club with him of guys in show business that do weird things and their eyes don't match. So I got that going on, and like Alice Cooper, who does illusions, including the guillotine in the show, and so Alice Cooper has always been big with me as well, and then a lot of stand-up comedy, things like that, and funny but dark side. Elvira's always been a huge influence. I love the Mistress of the Dark, which is why I became the Master of the Dark Realm. So,
I do. Love that.
Yeah. You got to love Elvira. I mean, man, Sandra, just amazing, always amazing. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Been my idol since I was a little kid.
Yeah. So, the Queen of Halloween, there she is, And she made her own movie, so that was a little. That was a little part of the inspiration to make my own movie, to make Dark Realm. There's definitely some of that in the DNA of Dark Realm, of Elvira's first movie, Mistress of the Dark, and back into the concert, because there's so much of my show in it. Back into concert films like David Bowie's. Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars, that concert film from the 70s. Along with a lot of horror influences like, The Wizard of Gore by the amazing Herschel Gordon Lewis, the Godfather.
I was just going to ask you if you've seen that, what your takes were on that.
Oh, yeah. Yep. In fact, I had met Herschel a couple of times at horror conventions, and he was so nice. He came over to my table to meet me. My first one down at Spooky World in Florida, Spooky Empire. And he was so great. And I was talking to him. I was interested in doing a remake of The Wizard of Gore, because I'm like, if there's a guy that should do that, I can handle that. I want to do that. And I was talking about that, like, how do I get the rights? Who has them right now? And he was even interested in directing a little bit, although I wanted my friend John Wachago to direct it at that time. But he was very kind, and he hooked me up on who had the rights and everything. But then the minute I started to pursue that, they came out with that remake not long after it was in the process of it. They came out with that other remake of The Wizard of Gore. And I like some of it, some of it, not so crazy about. I didn't think it was a great interpretation. They had a great cast, but I just don't think they got the magic end of it. And then they took Crispin Glover, who's an amazing performer, but he did his research at the Magic Castle in Hollywood, which is not where you want to research an underground, dark magician, which is what they had Montag playing in the remake. So he was out there wearing, like Siegfried and Roy. He's wearing like a white sparkly tux with a cod piece and all this crazy shit going on. And it just, that kind of act would not attract the underground venues and audience that they had him in front of in that movie. So I didn't think that worked, even amazing as he is. And they weren't doing any, like in the original Wizard of Gore, they actually used magic, stage illusions and magic in that, along with all the weird, psychedelic, kind of things. But they use actual magic in it, and in the remake they didn't even go near that stuff. It was all special effects, and I was very disappointed in that.
That's
which is another reason Dark Realm, because then I went back to Herschel, and then he said to me, he's like, well, if somebody else has done it, then just make your own version of it. And I'm like, cool. I mean, at the Godfather of Gore is going to tell me to do my own thing. I'm going to do my own thing because he was an awesome dude, and I appreciated him so much. And so that's what I did. And that was kind of the beginning of Dark Realm. And then my friend Vincent Belancio, my director and acting friend, and Mr. Vinny, I like to call him. And Mr. Vinny had said to me at one point, he's like, hey, let's shoot your show. And that's when I said, no, let's make a movie out of it. And that's Dark Realm. And if you guys want to watch it in the audience, it's streaming right now. It's streaming on Amazon Prime Video. You can go watch it right there. And for
I've not watched it.
Like us, the DVD is available only on my website, fitzgeraldsrealm.com.
Awesome.
Speaking of DVDs, we do have one of yours, the item.
Oh, that's my first one. Yeah.
This one was actually pretty hard to find, and I'm glad that my husband was able to.
Hard to find. That went to Sundance. That went to the Sundance freaking Film Festival.
That's so
written and directed by Dan Clark. Dan also acts in it. It's kind of an ensemble film, and it was great because at Sundance, here's the way to describe the item. If you guys can find a copy, it's a super weird ride, is it not?
I personally have not had the chance to watch it. I want to so bad.
You got
my husband has, but
no spoilers. No spoilers then. I play a character, Dr. Odie, and I still have my long blonde hair because I had long blonde hair for a very long time before I shaved it off and went with a Nosferatu look. So and I still have my long blonde hair in that. But when that went to Sundance, they and this is what the Sundance people, I quote, it's Quentin Tarantino on acid. There you go.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Enjoy a freaking weird ride with the item.
We might have to review it, man.
Yeah, we definitely might have to.
Please do. We would all appreciate it. I know Dan would like that, but it's like, that was my very first one. I did 2 movies at the same time. One of them was the item, and it went out, went to Sundance and then out to a worldwide video release. And at that time, it came out, man, 20, just at the turn of the century there. Back before the war on terror, boys and girls,
Yeah.
It was a while ago, and that's why it's hard to find now. It's not streaming anywhere, but it is on YouTube. So if you want to watch it, you can also watch it on YouTube, Okay. I've got a playlist of different movies and trailers and things on my YouTube account, and you can go into that playlist and you can find it right there, along with other things I've done. But if you want to watch the movie, somebody dumped it on YouTube. So
yeah. So just out of curiosity, quick, do you have any films or ongoing projects like that now, or have you stopped doing that? Are you still open to doing that? Or?
I haven't stopped. I want to do more, but we had a little pandemic in the way, and the last thing I did was something called The Devil's Canvas by Rob Sepulveda. You can find that on Vimeo. I believe it's streaming on there. I don't know that it's anywhere else. And that it came out in 2019, and that was the last thing I had completed before the pandemic had hit.
Okay.
And after that, it was a weird ride. And then in the middle of that, I had other personal challenges come up. I had a very bad infection and a dental thing go on, and they actually removed half of my jaw because of it.
Jeez.
And replaced it with a bit of my shoulder blade.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, you're not kidding. It was a 12-hour surgery and a month in the hospital. It was not a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh.
There are things you will see show up in a horror film later. I can guarantee you that. And it was a big challenge to get through.
Sure.
And a few years after to recover. So even though I was doing my own social media and still doing things, I didn't feel exactly camera ready, and things were very slow in coming back in offers. I've got another thing that I'm working on. Mr. Vinny again, Vincent Bellagio, whose horror pedigree goes all the way back to Roger Corman's Sorority House Massacre. Vinny's in it.
No way.
Oh yeah, yes he is. Yeah, you should have him
That's
on
cool.
talk to him sometime. You definitely should. He's directed things. He's been in a bazillion things, and we met working on one of John Lechago's movies called Blood Gnome. And you should look at Blood Gnome. It's got a cool indie cred because it is a horror movie set in the BDSM underground.
I have it.
She has it. She has it.
Have fun with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we both are collectors. So we've got kind of she's got her collection here, but yeah.
Do you have a Blood Gnome?
Right there.
Oh, you do. There it is. Thank you. You are awesome.
Yeah, well, you can thank my husband. He's the one that if he finds something I can't find, he collects that too. So we made sure we have it.
That is so perfect. Thank you. I'm so glad you have that. Have you seen that one yet?
I have actually. Yes.
You have. So
That
it's a kinky
unique.
weird ride. And Vinny stars in that. He's got the lead. I've got a supporting role in that. But that's where we met. That's
so
where we all met, working for John Lechago, a writer who was a writer and director of that. And that was really cool. So Vinny then right now is writing another movie tentatively titled Die Garage Band Die. And he's been commissioned to write a script. I don't know where we're at on it, but he said he had a part for me. So that likely will be the next actual horror movie I'm going to do.
That's going to be so cool.
As long as they get the script where they want it and they get the funding and everything together, we're moving forward with that. And he asked me if I'd like to do a part in that, and of course I always love working with him because he directed and also acts in, and we co-wrote and co-produced Dark Realm together. So we've done a lot of projects together. He even helps me in my live stage show. He comes out because he's a theater guy as well. He's an amazing actor. I mean, he's done The Elephant Man, Vinny has, and he can make people cry. He's that freaking good. He's amazing.
Oh my gosh, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, from Blood Gnome to The Elephant Man. I mean, come on, And then, of course, that makes me go crazy because David Bowie also famously did The Elephant Man. So. It's just
that's
their
cool.
connections, So that would probably be my next actual horror movie. And then there are other projects that keep popping up. I had been approached over the last couple of years about a couple of other projects, something that was a vampire thing, and I always loved that. But none of those other projects that were pitched to me ever came to fruition. So it's been kind of weird. Everything, indie horror. You guys know it's a hard road, and it's hard now. I mean, there are streaming platforms and there are more things and more places to put it than ever, but they, making money and getting a budget and doing that, I mean, really, truly, indie film distribution is a goddamn toilet. It just is not. It is not kind. It is not nice. It is not kind in any way or caring in any way of the creators that bring you indie horror, which have some of the most amazing original scripts you're ever going to see. All comes from the indie world now, because corporate Hollywood only wants to give you the sure thing, something that's branded a remake or a reboot or a sequel. Yeah. And they need to get the idea in their head that you're going to have to take a chance on something different, a Tim Burton, somebody like that coming up that wants to do a Beetlejuice or some weird out of left field thing. Otherwise, you're just going to keep churning out the same shit.
Yeah.
And that's so annoying, because that's all we ever see now is just the same shit.
Regurgitated over and over and over to try to quick grab the money and then dip out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm thrilled that we get another Deadpool movie, which is awesome. I'm thrilled that with 36 years later we get Beetlejuice. I freaking loved it. Not as good. Nothing will ever match or beat the original, but it holds the tone, and a lot of the main cast came back and everything. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it.
She's the huge fan, and I've seen it, and she hasn't.
I have not, because I had a sick child, but I'd love to see it. So we're gonna see it.
But you will have your chance. Come on, spooky season. You'll have your chance. Go out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Perfect time to launch that. I was hoping they would wait one more week and launch it on Friday the 13th. Why the hell they passed that off?
Why wouldn't they do that?
I don't know.
It's silly.
I think they just wanted out earlier in the beginning of spooky season. They're going to just kind of write it out.
Right. That's probably it. I can see that.
And so let's hopefully that'll just keep going for them. But anyway, going back to what you were asking me. So with all that being said, and about indie film distribution and everything, I've not been getting as many offers as I had been prior to the shutdown of everything. So, but it's things are coming back around. I kind of had to sit it out. I mean, it took that jaw surgery. It's really taken me like 3 years.
Yeah.
Holy, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Well, we all have challenges and stuff like that. It was wrangly for me because I also have a double organ transplant. So I'm a chemistry set of weirdness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Little bit of Frankenstein.
Well, that's kind of cool.
It is. Here's the thing I do know because of that is that with the organ transplant is that if Frankenstein were real, he'd be taking a buttload of pills. That's what I know.
Oh, yeah.
Accurate, though.
Putting a lot of random pieces together,
A question for you. Sorry.
Yeah.
A question for you is, what is your favorite act to perform on stage? Like, which one is just the highlight? Like, you love that one. You love to perform it every time.
There's a couple of things. Eating razor blades is one of them. It's a crowd pleaser,
Yeah, that's cool.
That's why I like to do the open with that. Once you come out and do that, you can do whatever the hell you want after that. You have their attention. And then there's something where I cut someone's head off. That's in Dark Realm as well. I love that one. I love chopping off heads because you have anyone that gives you head and then let you keep it. So there you go. And a lot of times the big closer on the show is a cremation illusion where I do like a witch burning setup and we cremate somebody live on stage and we do not bring her back. That's it. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Boom. And I like doing that. I like closing the show with that because it's pretty exciting, visceral. The audience seem to love those same pieces in the show, those same acts as well. I don't know. What did you say when you looked at Dark Realm? What stood out to you? What did you like when you saw it?
Oh man, I think the one that really got me was the razor blade ones because my husband will tell you I have a weird thing about like anything sharp going near anything, especially fingers, and it's just and mouth, and it was just like, oh my god. Oh, yeah. But it was so good. Like I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
And I think the other thing I remember too was definitely the head, like where you took off the head, you decapitated the person. I definitely remember that for sure.
Yeah.
Now I can't remember though. Did you bring anybody up on stage?
I did. We edited that down for the purpose of the movie, but I do regular audience participation.
Okay.
And we did that. We did a tarot card effect.
Okay, that's cool.
It was tarot cards.
I apologize. It's been a while since I saw it.
No,
but
that is fine, but that is in there too. And actually, if you like that, I'm doing a show at the Hobart Art Theater in Hobart, Indiana, on a Devil's Night, October 30th. Fire it up! Fire it up!
Fired up.
That's right. Yeah. Banging away on Darla.
I will be chopping off heads and burning witches and eating razor blades and all the fun stuff that you've seen in Dark Realm. You can come out and see it live. So you guys should come on out. And if anybody else wants that, we'll get them. I don't know if you're going to attach it or put it in the chat or something. I can get you a ticket link for that too, or you can just look it up. The event is actually on the Evil Book of Face, and or you could message message me and on social or through my website. And in fact, it should be on the website by then too.
Awesome. We'll definitely promote the hell out of it.
Yeah. It's
theater, October 30th. It's the night before Halloween. It's going to be extra spooky and fun and cool. Tickets are already selling, so get them as soon as you see this, as soon as you can. Grab your tickets because it's a nice size venue, but it's not huge. So, it's a good place to see the show. So come out. I don't know. Have you guys been out to the Hobart Art Theater?
No.
That's new to us.
Come on down.
Yeah. I'm gonna check my schedule, but I may message you and let you know. I don't know if she might go or not.
Do the same thing.
We both or one of us might actually make that too. I'm gonna check my schedule, but I totally would be up for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. It'll be a great time if you've ever wanted to see a Gothic illusionist and see just what that is. It's a perfect kind of way to help cap off your spooky season this year. So as you that's October 30th, Wednesday, October 30th, because on Wednesdays we wear black. Wednesday, October 30th, 2024.
That's right. It's Devil's Night, so it's what you all painted up for. Crackhead, Halloween ain't done, manana.
We're black all the time anyway, aren't we? On now.
That's my favorite Crow reference. Like, that's my favorite part of the Crow. Yeah.
I love it.
Well, we have to always ask this of all of our guests, but what is your favorite horror movie, and what's the horror movie that really influenced you the most?
Wow, that is so hard. I mean, well, don't you guys have more than one favorite, like in different reasons?
I have my one. That's it. I'm a weird person like that. I have others I love. When I say favorite, I have one.
What is your one? What would that be?
Oh gosh, you just opened up Hellraiser's box, Pandora's box.
Awesome.
So, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Oh, yeah.
With Chop Top, Nubbins. Oh, I fucking love that movie.
Caroline Williams. I have met them both. They are awesome.
Bill Johnson. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge Bill Moseley fan. In fact, my Instagram, which you'll see because I'll be messaging you, is me and Bill Moseley. I met him at one of the cons. I'm actually going to be going to Days of the Dead Chicago.
Yeah.
Hopefully meeting up with Bloody Essentials. If you guys are listening to this, I'm totally going to do it. But I have a tattoo picked out from a local tattoo artist here. It's a Chop Top tattoo, but I'm going to have Bill sign my thigh below it. So that I'm going to take it to the tattoo artist, have the signature, and then she's going to do the piece. So it'll be awesome.
He is so awesome because, he is just such a great dude. He always recognizes me when I come up to say hi and everything, and that's great. And one time, right next to his table, was Tom Savini, and I didn't know this.
He's gonna be there too.
He took me next door and introduced me to Tom, and said, "Tom, show him some magic," because Tom Savini loves magic and he does close-up magic. Who knew? Who the hell knew?
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there talking magic and showing we were doing magic for each other, at me and Tom Savini. And that was cool. And that wouldn't have happened if Bill Moseley had not clued me into that and then walked me right over and said, "Tom, guess what? Ron's a Gothic illusionist, and Bill's seen my show." So it's he just could not be a cooler guy, really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he does so much. I mean, he's done so many films. He does music. He's done stuff with, Phil and Bill and Phil. He's done the Corn Bugs with Buckethead. I'm a huge Chop Top Bill Moseley fan, definitely.
And that crazy series he did on social media where he's baking dinner rolls and stuff. I mean,
he does that. He'll bake cinnamon rolls, different things. It's crazy.
Yeah.
His daughter does artwork too. So he actually was featured in a coffee brand. I forget what the coffee brand company is, but his daughter did the cover for him.
That's cool.
And I have the coffee with his daughter's artwork. It's one of my favorite things that I have.
Cool.
I may have Bill sign that one. I don't know. I've got so many things I don't have him sign.
Ask you if you had him sign it yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
That's awesome. So getting back to favorite movies, man, there's so many for different reasons. I mean, for me, always, ever since I first saw it, The Wizard of Gore, I mean, is still a favorite. It's such a cult classic.
That's so good.
And I love me some cult classic, Yeah, you gotta go. I mean, going really underground, what else would there be? I'm a big Bowie fan, so I'm going to say this: The Hunger.
Oh my God! Of course.
Bauhaus is in it, so know that one. You know it.
Opening scene.
A lot of people haven't seen The Hunger, so people, one of the most stylish vampire movies you will ever see.
Gorgeous.
David Bowie, Catherine Deneuve, Susan Sarandon. Yes, that's Susan Sarandon.
Yep.
Her picture show. Janet herself, damn it. And she's in it. Go get yourself a copy. Go find it streaming. Go watch The Hunger as part of your spooky season roundup. You'll be glad you did. You can thank me later when you come out to the show on October 30th. So there's that, and for that reason, and because you did just a full-on vampire movie, which is amazing. What else would there be? God, there's just so many for different reasons. I mean, I appreciate horror comedy, so Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell, Also, because for the same kind of reasons, The Lost Boys.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, grew up on that.
Really, what a weird surprise hit. And then I also, what else do I love? Going back to kind of more of a cult hit, Reanimator, Stuart Gordon.
Yes. One of my all-time favorite franchises.
Yeah. Yes, that's another one. Gory, weird, based on Lovecraft, stuff. And I love that. I did a movie myself, and by Julian Grant, that's based on Lovecraftian legend and lore, and that's called Arkham Sanitarium Soul Eater.
Ooh,
and I know at least a while that was also on Amazon Prime Video.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to check one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was supporting Roll on that, and it's super cool and fun. I love working on that thing. It's a weird indie movie, certainly in the cult, genre, and kind of, it's got some dark humor in it, and it's also Lovecraftian, and it also kind of uses and lampoons the found footage genre. So a lot of different things converging there, and it makes for a fun watch.
Well, we thank you so much for being here with us. I know it's kind of about that time for us. But gosh, you are just an incredible artist.
For days. Come on!
I love that. It makes it an easy interview.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's good. Yeah, no, thank you so much. I love doing interviews, and I'm doing that. Oh, I also have to, before we jet out of here, I also got to tell you guys and tell your audience, I am working on a book. It's called Monstrous Magic, A Career Conjuring Dark Sticky Fun. Cool. And that's coming out. I'm still working on it now. It'll be coming out next year, probably for the spooky season is what I'm hoping. And that's a good place to launch it, I think. And it is about my weird career going from a kid with a box of magic in the Midwest to being the master of the dark realm and all the many challenges I went through, especially with my health and all the other things along the way to make that happen. So Monstrous Magic, and that's my book that'll be coming out next year.
That's
Awesome.
so cool. Definitely be picking us up a coffee and having
Yeah.
you sign it.
Yeah.
Thank you. I will greatly. I will sign it for you when it's coming out. We'll come back on and do this again.
Hell yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be
No,
wonderful
I'd
to
love
have
that.
you, and even to have you for future events. We get another screening. Heck, if we just have you as like the main act, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to. I'd love to. Let's put something together because I'd love to come out and work with you guys on that. So
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll definitely be in touch. Like I said, we'll let you know if we're going to do the 30th, and then we'll keep in touch for other stuff, because I definitely would love to, in the future, do some stuff.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, anything else you want to plug?
Find me if you want to find me, more about what I'm doing, more about me, sign up on my email list to get notifications about the book and things like that. You'll get free music that I've done with the band Housemate of Dawn, who did the majority of songs and the score for Dark Realm. And I also did, if you want to see something fun for your spooky season, I did a remake of Monster Mash, and instead of it's kind of a sequel to the original. It's the same tune, but we tweaked it a bit, and it's got a female monster in it, so it's more Brighter Frankenstein than the original by Bobby Boris Pickett, which is Frankenstein. So we've got kind of a female centric remake of Monster Mash that I did, my voice with the band Housemate of Dawn. You can see the video. It's really fun. And that is on my YouTube channel.
Oh, that's so cool. I got to check that out.
You definitely check it out, and maybe we'll share a link of that or something too, because you got to see that. It's perfect for your spooky season, and it's really it's more of a party tune. It's got more energy to it, and a bitchin' guitar solo at the end of it that you don't expect in Monster Man.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
It is very cool.
Sweet. Well, yes, we definitely appreciate you having you on. We definitely are going to link up for some future events, and we really appreciate you taking the time with us today. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. So find them and follow them. Follow me on social, and Fitzgerald'sRealm.com is my website. And thank you guys both so much. I had so much fun with this. I can't wait. So please come out on the 30th, and we'll definitely do other events together and everything. That sounds great.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, with that being said, look out for each other, and good night, cellar dwellers.
Goodbye.
Bye. Awesome.
You're awesome. Thank you.
Yes.
So
thank you.